All right, I have arrived on the job site about 6:30 in the morning. The weather's looking a little cloudy, overcast. Perfect day to start a job. Here's what we're doing. We're doing this little area here, a little front porch, you know, maybe a little swing right here would be nice. And in the backyard, we're gonna be doing a little patio. And it looks like, here's for the RV parking right here. We were thinking about filling this area in, like the front. In the backyard, here's what we've got. We've got a 12 by, I think it's 17 or 19. So we're just gonna come off of this corner, come out here 12 feet, widen this little patio area. That way you can get at least a patio set on it, maybe an umbrella. Then also right here, we're gonna extend this over to right here. So it's not a big job, but you know, it's things that you really want if you have a house. The bare necessities. Hi, David Odell, Odell Complete Concrete. Here we are setting up the patio. I've got these stakes. I'm hoping I offset them enough that I won't have to move them for my end forms, so I can just run past, be long enough on the outside form. What I like to do is I didn't really pull a line off of the edges of the patio. So this outside form, the parallel form, I'm just gonna try to run a little wild. So I'm hoping that those string line stakes are long enough. I just kind of eyeballed it, but it's not super crucial that they are. So I can just extend the form past a few inches if I have to. This ground was hard. Probably some of the hardest ground I've ran into out here in Fort Mojave, Arizona. I chose the round stakes on this one. I have flat steel stakes, and then I've got these round ones. These round ones are the answer when you run into hard ground with rocks in it. That board had to take off about 3/4 of an inch because we're setting to the inside of that form. Also because we're extending off the other end of the existing patio towards the gate to the backyard, or where the future gate may be. I couldn't extend it long running along that side, because if I had, then that form would have been embedded in the concrete. Right there at the corner of the existing is the crucial point for stripping. All right, we have got this all set up in the backyard. It's basically ready to pour. We just have to wet it down. Also, we're gonna throw a couple dowels. We're gonna do a couple rebar dowels in here. See where X marks the spot right there. And I've got those. So we'll do that on pour day, which is at 7:30 a.m. And right now, let's see what time it is for fun, and see how long this took to get ready. There's the time, 8:07. We arrived at 6:30. So we did all that in about an hour and a half, unloading and loading. Now we're gonna move on to the front and finish that up. We're looking at probably another hour in the front, and then we just gotta wait for concrete. That went pretty quick in the back. I just had to scrape out maybe 2 inches. I'm a little deep in the back. I kind of figured this at 4 inches, but I'm really about 5.5. It just means more concrete, but what I found is that thick concrete is always better than thin concrete on base. All right, day 2, early in the morning, about 6:30, and we have arrived back on the job site, waiting for concrete. We did add some rebar dowels. We got 5 dowels here on this side. We got a couple over here. We're running about 5 inches deep everywhere. So it's a good solid slab going in here. Check out this string line holder the guy sent me. It's called stringxtools.com. What it does is it connects to your pole, and then you can get it way out there and hold your string line in place and snap a line so you can do some joining. So I'm going to try this out today, see how it works. As I'm walking around this job and I'm pulling string lines and try to, you know, match existing, I was looking at this.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, there's your felt.
And they edged over the top of the felt.
Yeah, only half of it.
Yeah,
the other half of it, they kind of got it right.
This half's okay. Over here.
Well, that's what happens when you set the felt below.
Yeah, they lost it.
I don't know.
Yeah, they set it low. And look at this joint over here. Let's take a look at this. Okay, I was gonna pull a string line down this joint here, you know, to set that form straight with the house. But once I did that, I was on that little 9-foot span. I was 2 feet out from this edge if I follow this joint, so I couldn't do that. And you can see it kind of looks strange. You're looking at this. That's because here on this end it's 4 feet, but on this end over here it's about 4.5 feet. It's and then even this run right here is not straight with the house either. So we just had to fake it, basically. A lot of faking in here. Pretty interesting. And then new track home like that. Concrete has arrived. We got the good driver at least.
I had to fight to come out here today. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I see you again.
Good to see you, man.
You too. Yep, I had to go to S&S after that last, you know, crash through a 16-foot gate. You know, had to switch it up. So we got Eric back here on the site. He hasn't been on a job in a while, but he's back in the business of doing concrete on the side. And then, you know, of course, he's got his regular gig. He's the head chef over there at Perkins. You know, spatulas, you know, for cooking, very similar the way you handle them to your trowels. In a pinch, if you broke your trowel and you had a spatula, you might be able to finish this out with one. That's right at the end where we just kind of free-handed it. We got rid of the 12-footer, so we just kind of hand floated it off nice. That form in the gate I had wedged in there. The pump hose knocked it out. There's no stakes holding it. It's just I had cut a little wedge to tighten it in there. But if you notice those forms, how dark they were, I sprayed some oil on there. And just some basic used motor oil out of my truck. I diluted it a little bit with some diesel fuel. That way it would spray nicely. Really preserves the wood. You get so much more usage out of your lumber. So basically what I'm doing is I'm saving trees by doing that. I've already bull floated it one direction, cross from the screed board, which is really, if you have the space, that's the way you want to do it. Now I'm running it the other direction, get it as flat as possible. I have about 1.5%, so about 3/16 of an inch per foot of slope, which is ideal. 1% is kind of, you might get a bird bath, possibly, but when you get into 1.5%, you know you're going to be setting pretty. There's my 1 foot wide, 1/2 inch walking edger, and I'm really due for a new one. This one's about 8 years old, and that radius on there is almost down to about a 3/8. I mean, the depth, not the radius, but the depth of it. So that really bungs you up when you're working with a new hand edger, because your hand edger wants to go full depth, you know, if it's new, and your walker's not getting down there deep enough. So when you come back later and it's hard and you got a hand edger that's new versus your old walker, you're kind of fighting it. So it's good to always replace your walkers and your hand tools together. That's the moral of that story. The same with your joiners, to be honest. You know, your walking joiners and hand joiners, same deal. Old Kit, he's got a new guy here. His name's Jacob, and he's training him how to, you know, run a pump and, you know, be able to do a little bit of everything, basically. Whatever needs to be done, that's what he'll be able to do. I'm going to say within, you know, he'd probably be a pretty good hand. I'm going to say 6 months to a year, depending on how much he works. Now, Eric, he's becoming a pretty good hand, actually. I mean, he's been off and on with me for a few years now. So he's really getting the feel of it. And I've promoted him, and he's kind of graduated to being able to run joiners and Fresnos. And also, he can screed a little bit too. So another year or two, depending on how much I work, he'll be able to knock these out probably solo. There's my nice new tool belt. Comes in handy when you have multiple tools like hand joiners, hand edgers, trowel, hand float. You can hang it all there, and it's always with you wherever you go, and you're not always trying to find out where you put something. And you can talk on the phone at the same time.
Alright, I see. That way it's not spreading it out like that, it's just hitting right locally. I get it.
Yeah, just hitting the joint. Here's where he kind of lost it a little bit. You know, he kind of was losing it on that. Joiner had to give him a little refresher. He was holding it up way too high of an angle. That high angle's okay when it's hard, but when it's soft, when you're first pass, you got to keep as flat as possible. Otherwise, you're really wrecking it. Well, here he is on the Fresno. He's just doing section by section. It's kind of nice when you got all this space to be able to do that. Matter of fact, we were able to do this entire back portion of the job without ever using any knee boards on it. It was just all pull tools. Ideal. And it doesn't look any different or act any different than if you had went out there on hand trowels and knee boards. The only difference is that at the end of the day, you're walking a little bit more upright. So Jacob's real particular, and he's really detailing these forms. I don't think I've ever had these forms. Ended up cleaner when I stripped them than when I put them in, because of all the detail he was doing on this stuff. Now it's just getting hard, and it's really kind of a matter of brooming it at this point. So I had Eric go ahead and pull all the steel stakes. I didn't want to pull the lumber at this point because I wanted to broom it first and then pull the lumber, but with that oil, that motor oil I put on there, the forms are actually falling off. So here's your final touch with a funny trowel. This keeps you in that upright position I was talking about. Now Eric's on the broom. I'm out front, just hand detailing the front area around those sewer cleanouts. He's brooming this out, and then I'm going to come back and I'll check on it to make sure everything's broomed out good. All the lumber's coming off now. I didn't have my hammer, but I found a big rock and it worked great for knocking these forms off. I felt kind of like a caveman hitting these forms off with a rock. Well, there it is, guys. Let me see what time it is. There's the time of day right there, 11:05. We started pouring at, what do you think it was, 8:30?
8:20, 8:30?
8:30, yeah. 8:30 and done at 11:05. And it looks,
I'm just a bona fide finisher now, aren't I?
it looks beautiful. We're gonna take the forms off and everything. Once the forms come off, technically you shouldn't really remove the forms, you know, for curing reasons. But I'm gonna put curing compound around the entire edge, even the face of the concrete, so that should duplicate what the forms would do. So I'm good with that. Let's do it. Anyway, that about wraps up this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we release the next beauty.
Hotel, complete, concrete, hotel.